Gentlemen, Antonio here. Okay, so this is part one of the personal image formula. And today we're going to be talking about 7 style formulas. Basically, these are the foundation of everything when it comes to style. Over the last 8 years, I've thought about these things, I've written them down, and in this course, in this quick program here, you're going to get all of my wisdom, having worked with thousands of men. Now, what I'm going to cover may seem pretty simple. It may not be revolutionary. However, oftentimes the simple things are actually very complex when you have to apply them into the real world. And all of these are just going to be numbers, equations, letters, until you start to apply them in your life. Now, I've set this up so that you will need to take action steps at the end of this. So you can go down to the very bottom and there's going to be some questions. Fill those out, because if you don't do this, if you don't take action, you're going to be getting a very small percentage of the value of this course. And I want to make sure that you take some action, even if it's you just simply filling out that information, checking some of the boxes. I made them pretty simple. And if you've got feedback, go ahead, let me know. You can contact me. Okay, so like I said, 7 foundational formulas. I may add to these at some point, but I try to keep it simple. And I think that if you have a deep understanding of each of these and you apply them, you're going to become a stylish man over time. All right, gentlemen, let's get into it. Equation number 1, the timeless style formula. Timeless style is equal to fit times function times fabric. So let's go ahead and throw in some numbers. Imagine if, and we're going to use a scale of 1 to 10. So imagine if the fit of the garment, you would rate it on a 1 to 10 scale of 8. The function of the garment, you would rate it on a 1 to 10 scale of 5. And the fabric, it's made from the highest quality fabric that you can afford, you're going to give it a 10. So if we multiplied those 3 numbers, what do we get? 400. And that's what I want you to focus in on. You want this end number to be as large as possible. It's not so much about each of the individual ones, it's when they're multiplied together that you get the largest end number. Ideally, you'd be able to get to 1,000. It's rarely ever going to happen, but what you don't want to do is you don't ever want to have a 0. You don't ever want to have anything below 100. How could you have something below 100? Well, let's just say that you've maybe nailed the fit. Let's go back to an 8 on the fit. And the function, you got it as a 5. But the fabric, the quality of the clothing you're wearing is really, it's horrible. It's some of the worst out there. You get a 1. Well, guess what? 8 times 5 times 1, what do you get? 40, well below 100. And so you can kind of see how the key point of this is that style is relatively simple. It comes down to 3 particular parts of the equation. However, if you neglect one part of the equation, it can throw the entire equation off. However, if you do pretty good on each of them, a 5 times a 5 times a 5 is equal to 125. And that's a lot better than a 10 and a 10 and a 1, or a 10 and a 10 and a 0, or a 0, a 10 and a 10. You get my point. The point is style, when it comes down to it, is incredibly simple. But as Clausewitz said, when it comes down to, and he talked about war, if you haven't read it, even in the simple, it can get very complex. And I'm going to get into more detail about what do I mean by fit, what do I mean by function, what do I mean by fabric. But for this first equation, I want you to understand that style is actually pretty simple. Most men mess it up because they try to make it overly complex. They get focused in on the small things that don't matter. You focus in on the fit, on the function, and on the fabric. Gentlemen, you're going to be able to get that number up there and you're going to be looking good. Okay, gentlemen, so the main point of section number 1, style is simple.